This episode of RPMMO Radio is brought to you by our amazing and generous Patreon donors. Visit us at patreon.com/RPMMO Radio to help support the show. It is also brought to you by
It happens time after time. The world as we know it shifting with discovery. An entire race of people, an unknown continent, or even a whole planet. Entire new types of adventurers, all showing up at once. So there I was, just farming on my chocobo like I always do. Oh, Chalky, that's the chocobo, was just plowing the field when, I'll be damned, out of nowhere, hundreds of these tall, sexy bunny girls just started appearing nearby, just one after another. Now, they was all a real friendly bunch, just helping me out with chores and stuff, but, it was the damnedest thing. They call themselves the Vera, coming from a land of only whispers. They come from places unknown and come in droves. Why are they here? What do they want? What was their dress code like in high school? All this and more as we go in depth in tonight's documentary, Vera, Friend or Foe, Multiplying Like Rabbits. Tonight on RPMMO Radio.
You're listening to RPMMO Radio.
Does internet porn know you're cheating on it?
Where entertainment and roleplay in MMORPGs have little hybrid mutant babies.
Make a note of this. This honor on you, this honor on your cow, this honor on your whole family.
And now, here's your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Civ, Jazz, Strafe, and Yunfei.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players, and welcome to RPMMO Radio, our 94th episode, Expanding RP. I, of course, am your host, Ashen Phoenix, and with me tonight is my crew, Civ, Strafe, Yunfei, minus a Jazz, who is right now trying to cross the Canadian border.
Hello.
It was not difficult. She's going to see some of our Canadian friends. Brings back some of that smuggled maple syrup in milk bags.
Yeah, I was going to say milk in a bag.
If there's one thing I know Jazz appreciates, it's a good pair of milk bags.
Oh, hey, go say hi to Erica's for us.
I got booed by Yunfei. That's just... kind of hurts a little bit. I mean, if it was Strafe, I wouldn't care because, look at where it's coming from. But Yunfei,
Hey,
it hurts a little.
I got your back, and I take such abuse. What's up with that?
I don't know what you're talking about. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We do this, of course, every Saturday night, except for when we don't. 7 Central Time over at twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. You are welcome to call the show as long as you're not a complete creepy weirdo like the one that tried to get in before it even started and wanted to basically just make an ass of himself, and that's not going to be allowed. So that's why we have a call screener, rpmradio.com/Discord, and if your mic doesn't work or you're just a moron, you're not going to get on. Sorry, it's not that kind of show. You want to go to that, go to PewDiePie, Ninja, anybody that's successful. I'm just letting that sink in for a minute, how sad that is that I don't even know what they do, and I know their names.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You know what
Sounds like some self-admission to me, boss.
You didn't come in, Sib. I don't know why.
I said, I don't know what you're even talking about.
See? She doesn't even know what they are. They're one of PewDiePie. He's basically I think he's a gun enthusiast that shoots pies. And Ninja,
No.
Ninja's Funny enough, he's actually a candlestick maker. I don't really get the correlation.
You know what? Let's go with that. That sounds
Right.
right.
Oh, they're streamers. I will say I really don't understand the popularity of PewDiePie. I've tried watching him. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it at all.
There's a lot of folks who'd rather watch a game than play it. One of my best buddies is like that, and I don't get it either. I'm like, dude, why don't you just play it for yourself?
I can at least understand that too on a certain aspect, like, you know, at least, but the rest of his stuff, I don't get, like I don't get it. I just don't get, like, the stuff, this non-gaming stuff. It makes no sense to me at all. Like when he went and what was it? He did something. When he was pulling stunts and he got in trouble for, I don't know, I forget what the stunt was, but it was something dumb. It's like, how could you think that was a good idea?
He went to the Suicide Forest. That's the guy you're...
No, that was another guy.
That's
the other guy, yeah.
That's a whole different idiot. And he's an idiot. At least
they kind of look the same, though. And
they actually do have a
similar
look, yeah. But hey, at least they're not selling their bathwater, right, Sib?
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so gross.
I've been seeing that. I forget what her name is, but some girl that's apparently popular for sticking out her tongue and crossing her eyes in bikinis a lot. But she's selling her bathwater for $30 a pop and sold out. So,
mm-hmm.
Hey man, capitalism hard at work.
Yeah, I guess if there's a market, I mean, as a postal worker, it seems like a bit of a biohazard.
I mean, when you got used panty machines in Japan and they'll, coin op,
you're not wrong. I guess there is. I mean,
there is that.
It is. Yeah. I don't. Where are we at? I don't even understand what the world's coming to.
Expansions.
So let's talk about role playing and fake virtual worlds as real people. God.
Man, that makes it sound so much better, boss.
Right? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, totally. I mean, oh, hey, at least ours isn't a biohazard, unless you're role playing one handed, I guess.
Oh.
Oh man, you had to go there.
I'm just letting that sink in. I'm letting it saturate, letting it.
Both hands on the keyboard.
Yes,
folks. Just saying.
Hands where you can see them. Right here. Hands where you can see them. It's all right.
Yes.
All right. Well,
and the only reason we would let you have a bio on that is if you were Smiling Sorcerer.
That's true. Right, because
that would be the only person.
Because he's got the cerebral palsy and his one hand only has the finger of justice that randomly flips people off. Flicks people off. Yikes.
I mean, the finger of justice takes a lot of concentration, right?
That is true.
Don't go there.
Yeah, I was a slip of the tongue.
Bad. You keep digging that.
That one wasn't even intentional. That was just a.
I think you're making it bad. Hey.
But yeah, good old Smiling Sorcerer. I wonder how he's doing. Oh, he has a. Last I heard, he was doing pretty good. Pretty good. I know that because he said, "Hey, how's it going?" He said, "I'm doing pretty good."
Hey, man, got right from the horse's mouth.
I'm just gonna have to take his word for it, But so, without Jazz here to pick on, I guess it's a coin flip between which one of us was contaminated by her more. Strafe. I did have a pretty good random role play with one of her characters in Star Wars. So by comparison, what did you have anything deep and meaningful with her? Ooh. I mean, again, how does that sound so bad when I say that? It sounds fine until it comes out of my mouth. Anyway.
I mean, it's all how you take it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, anyway.
How you take it? That's right. No, keep going. Tell us more, guys.
Do you take it like a man or do you take it like a woman?
No comment on that.
That's ma'am, sir.
Ugh. Run away. Run far away. I mean, there was the poetry night, and then I actually went to Guild Night in ESO.
It sounds like you got more contamination then, which means by default you are Jazz tonight. So Jazz, go ahead and tell us what you did in roleplay.
We'll just wait till she shows up. Should be like 10 minutes, right?
Tonight? I don't think she's gonna be here at all.
Yeah, I know.
She's in like
Strafe, it ain't no freaking Jazzy B.
She's crossing that Canadian border, going to those Canadian hotels, meeting those Canadian people down in. I think
Probably
she's
hanging out with Ericus, right?
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she was doing. That or she's going to something like Arkansas. I have no idea. I just know I saw pictures of her driving, which
That's right. She is going to Arkansas.
yeah, Arkansas, which is, of course,
I did warn her. I said, look, you know,
Canada.
we have some friends there, but there's also one of
Really going to
the.
Canada?
yeah.
Sorry.
No, she really didn't go to Canada.
She really did.
No, really didn't.
No, she really
Okay.
didn't.
I always,
Like,
I
good
never,
night.
I almost never tell the truth. Shafay, every time he's gone, he's like smuggling cocaine and snorting whores or something.
I mean,
It's,
ouch.
It was always something new. I mean, I know he doesn't listen to the show after, so it's like I could say anything.
Well, see, I got in trouble at work, so I had to stop reviewing our shows while I was working because politics. But hey,
Oh, we could. You're downloading illegal content at work, and it's not what our systems and computer servers are to be used for. It is only work-related material. Does it sound about right?
No,
Oh,
more just you spend too
okay.
much time looking at something else instead of working. But the irony is they didn't give us a task, so you're trying to. Keep
We don't
yourself
have
busy.
anything here you to do, so you should be cleaning your desktop and making the end caps look nice. That's what we heard when we
Yeah,
were
it
slow
sounds
at grocery stores.
Oh my god. The whole if you've
Clean?
got time to lean, you've got time to clean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Except for when
I
it
did
was,
my time there.
yeah, it's like, yeah, actually, I've already cleaned it. You want to look? I mean, I licked every single one of these clean, which apparently I started before it was cool.
So roleplay, but
Right.
yes, essentially that. There was some meaningful RP that was kind of leading into the bigger story arc. I brought Rufus to kind of pile around. I walked into a pending RP that was already going on, and so I guess I'll get into Rufus. These ones showed up. He noticed there was a heated argument between the angry Red Guard and the boss Kia. So he waited until the boss Kia looked really, really sad. Then he jumped over the counter and licked her cheek. She then smiled. The Red Guard, he was still hostile, so... She had to take him to the side and talk to him. A proper talking to him, maybe about yarn. This one can never tell. But regardless, once she left, this one started talking to the Mir, and also this one's friend, the Bard. The Strandrick, no less. There was dancing on the bar, no one could see us. There was pilfering of cheese. And then there was an odd moment where I had to sit down and think. And this one cannot remember how he got to the bar. But he was on the top shelf, laying down thinking. All he could remember was someone had to watch out for Sia because she had 3 big bad things coming for her. Very, very bad. So, he told the Bard, he asked the Strandrick to promise. The Strandrick, he shifted his feet, but then he said yes. But then the dancing was back, and the lights. So there was another dance. And by the time they got back, and we were scolded, this one expertly launched off the counter, off the stone, and out the window. And that was my roleplay for the week. Oh, besides that poetry hour. But who goes to that thing?
Sorry, poetry. I heard poetry. Poetry.
Whatever.
Sorry, poetry puts me. I don't like poetry. Everything else is good. I don't blame the cat
Actually,
for skipping poetry night.
No, poetry night. Yeah, well, Rufus is like Xanis. He's like, poetry no.
Yeah, poetry, great.
But-
That's singing without the fun.
we did have a full house actually. We had can't remember her name. Sibs might remember it. It's the Khajiit lady who joined the Telvanni, who's all bubbly.
Bubbles.
Is it Tamerlane?
Tamlin, yeah, Tamlin brought
I
her
see
crew.
her posting stuff a lot on the events and stuff.
Yeah,
She's gotten really active, and she was really excited to go. She showed up, and she pulled she was, of course, went first, and she pulled a Kyoten, and it wasn't totally a bad joke. It was just a really ridiculous riddle. It was kind of funny, but
Yeah.
You know, my help was like, oh yes. This reminds me of I just flew in from Wayrest and boy are my arms tired. But she did bring a couple of her friends, one of which was an Argonian lady and a really buff orc lady. Wearing white and gold, no less. Trask just kept looking at that going, oh god, I
They're
can't look over there.
multiplying. Yeah. Well, I'll go with what I had. So I logged into Star Wars, Old Republic, and it's like, yeah, we'll see what's going on. I saw the Jazz and Ken, which is Ericus. We're logged in, and first, before I'm even loaded in, I got a tell from Jazz. It's like, hey, I have a roleplay idea if you want to do it. I don't know why she also sounds like Strafface Supervisor.
My supervisor
Everybody
actually...
that annoys you sounds the same.
Carry on.
But
Sorry.
so I was like, yeah, sure, what you got? And she said something about happened off screen. Her and her little group of like her minions, whatever trainee people that she was with, were jumped at the Droman Koss spaceport, and of course they had to dispatch them, and they left the bodies there, and she just kind of left it at that. And I was like, okay, I could work with that. So, Xanatos, being a Sith Marshal, which is, I know people are like, hey, he's a Marshal that places Sith? Well, yeah, because Sith don't care as long as, if you do your power plays and you don't get caught, nobody gives a crap. But if you do it clumsily and you're an idiot, like, I don't know, leaving dozens of bodies, they still have a system of government. It's not like the rule of two and things like that. And the Sith do not get, even Darths, they still have a system. So I created something like a Marshal Service. And it doesn't really do a whole lot. It's mostly the government, and it keeps the rules of the Empire and keeps the Sith from.
He's a dark side cop.
Yeah,
That's
he's basically what he is. And so he came in there and was being grumpy with her, and is like, and she's like, I understand you had a mishap at the spaceport, and she's like, yeah, maybe. And it's like, well, turns out we caught you on video with it. And she's like, I thought I destroyed them all. It's like, yeah, well, you missed the power droid that just kind of meandered through missed the beginning of fight, meandered through, and then missed the end of your fight, but caught it all on his sensors. So it got the part where it was calling her a Twi'lek whore. Then they activated lightsabers, they fought, and then it walked off before the obvious conclusion of where they left the 6 or 7 people dead. So, and she realized that it's like, wait, are you here to actually bring me in? And he's like, well, the one that did the whole thing filed a formal complaint saying you started it. And since we don't have the beginning of the tape, I have to come and take your statement. And you're going to need to come with me. So she was put out. And, of course, Jazz is all good with all this because I was like, I warned her. I was like, don't hand me a smoking gun. I'll use it. If it's still loaded, I'll put the pieces together.
And for those that know her best, she absolutely adores any kind of roleplay. She eats it up. So carry on.
She was totally good with everything I was coming up with off the top of my head, which is just pulling this out of my butt. But so he took her to the Marshal Service offices, his office, which is just my in-game house, basically, just made it look like an office.
Ride downtown.
That's right. Taking a ride downtown.
Book 'em, Dino.
And, warned her before he started the recording, like, just be honest and tell your side of the story, and, clicked it, and was like, state your name for the records, and, would you like to tell me your side of the story of what happened at the Droman Koss spaceport? And she went through the whole thing where they were stopped, there was exchange of words, and he asked her, like, oh, who ignited their saber, who threw the first punch, who ignited their saber first, and she's like, I think they did, but it was only just, which really with force powers, even a half second, between one and the next, half second's all that makes the difference of who would be at fault. So basically it was just it's an old rival of hers from back in the academy days that just can't let it go. One of those kind of Chad people that just keeps thinking they can't stand to be bested, so they just have to keep proving how much better they are than you, no matter how long it's been. And since he filed the formal complaint, now she's on, even though she was technically OOC, we know she wasn't in the wrong. He's a pure-blood Sith with a powerful family behind him, so politics are now involved. So it was a lot of fun, and they took the statement, and we're like, well, we'll have to see where it goes and go from there. And it's like, make sure if he dies in the Empire, basically that's admission of your guilt. So make sure he doesn't get killed off accidentally, and all sorts of imperial things that our justice system wouldn't allow for. But Empire, so it doesn't really matter. I can make up things as I want as long as they're very totalitarian. It kind of works.
You know, Ash, I do have a Chiss Imperial agent that could be your deputy. That would be hilarious.
You're not allowed.
Oh,
We don't like those blue-skinned freaks. No.
I'm going to tell Thrawn on you.
I know. I'm actually looking at him right now. The Star Wars Black Series Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's on my desk right here in front of me.
Oh, that's glorious.
Yeah, it's awesome. But no, it was a lot of fun. It was just kind of spontaneous. Only lasted about an hour and a half maybe. But it was enjoyable, and I'm curious to see if anything comes of it. I always like those like political role play where it's not necessarily a saber fight or an interrogation where you're pulling thumbnails off or anything like that. Just standard sort of stuff, and it was enjoyable. It's the only role play I've had in a while. Still kind of on my my burnout mode and playing through Final Fantasy 14. I have seen a little role play, and I got to say I like some of the things they've upgraded in 14.
Right.
Because one of the big problems they have there is like the original unofficial original roleplay server Balmung. It's packed. You can't create a new character on there except for like when the planets align and Captain Planet is summoned alongside Voltron, both versions, the car and the Lions in both series, and Lion-O lifts the sword and calls the Thundercats, and the Transformers are rolling out. If all that happens at the same time, you have about 2 minutes to create a new character on that server.
You forgot Goku eating a sensu bean.
Goku eating a sensu bean and going Super Saiyan at the same time as the Tartarus is appearing before you. But it's rough. So they apparently they've implemented. They have data centers around the world. I think 2 or 3 here in the states, and on each one of those data centers, there's the different servers, and I think Crystal's the one Balmung is on. But now apparently you can create a character on like Mateus, which is in the same data server, and you can temporarily just teleport your character over to Balmung. And so when you're talking, it's like Ashen Phoenix of Mateus says blah blah blah. So you actually know they're not of Balmung's server, which is good.
Do you have to get somebody? Do you have to get somebody to?
No, I think you just
invite you and then.
No, from what I saw, you can just click, like, you can go to the Aether Crystals and click on it, and it just says, like, world transfer, and you can transfer over to that other server. And I guess it's a different, I don't understand it. I assume there's got to be a technical aspect of the fact that the character is stored on another server, but it's just temporary. Like, you can't buy houses on Balmung, not that there are any to buy. But if you transfer into whatever server, from your original server, you can't do certain, like, you can't buy housing, you can't put things on the bazaar and the market and things like that. So it actually seemed like a pretty decent way to get around that server load. And I will say, I was just curious to go through the character creation on the Bunny Girls, the Vera, because why not? They are hot. The other guys, the big lion people, the big lion people, a little weird. Yeah, and that new Thundercats, by the way, that was a really good show. It was a shame it got canceled before it got more than one season.
You're still checking out the Rabbit Girls. I know what was
Oh,
up.
yeah. I mean, they're Vera. But I lost my train of thought.
That's what you were looking at.
Oh, no, I was trying. It was like 7 or 8 o'clock, and I looked at server status for all servers on Final Fantasy 14. Not a single one was allowing new characters to be made anywhere in the U.S. They were all at maximum load, so you had to wait until like the next day during like early in the morning or in the afternoon to create a new character. It was kind of crazy. I don't know why. Apparently they're really packing them in there right now. So I mean, good on 14. Apparently this new expansion, not Stormblood, that's the one before, Shadowbringers, is doing really well. Every review I've seen of it, and all the people I'm not into it. All the people playing it seem to really be digging it. Apparently, it does some really good new stuff. So hopefully, they finally got out of their rut of redoing the same stuff, expansion after expansion, and kind of half-assing it.
That's good news.
Yeah, no, it's good news. Anything that makes an MMO better, now ESO, step up your game. Of course, the problem with ESO with the Dragon expansion now, this is supposed to be spread out over an entire year, so it'll be like a year and a half, 2 years before the next one, and
I still got to get one and get the expansion.
Yeah,
maybe it'll be good by the end of the year.
Yeah, it could be. I'm wondering because everyone seems so down on it, or they finished it so quickly. I don't know if that's because they're pacing it out or what the deal is, but apparently it was okay received. I mean, some people obviously are gonna love it no matter what because they're just such uber fans, which is fine. Some people like everything Star Wars no matter what and get really angry if you don't like it. Strafay.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's an awesome picture right there, Sib.
Isn't that cruel?
That's
cool?
fucking awesome.
Blech,
all the villains all doing the Breakfast Club thing.
I just came across that and I was like, I gotta post
Cobra
that
Commander all demolling welding it out in the front of there.
Skeletor right in the very front. I was like,
Oh, that's awesome.
That's my boy, you fetchers.
But yeah, no, that was good stuff. I had a lot of fun with Jazz. I don't know when she'll be back, but I think she's gonna be gone a whole week, so we'll see. How about you, Sib? What'd you play this week?
This week we did Gears of War last night.
We did. It was so much fun.
Other than that, I really haven't logged in. I just been busy with my health stuff, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crashing 3 times last night was super annoying.
What? Oh,
yeah.
Yes, crashing during.
Yeah,
yes,
my game froze 3 times when we were playing through it. Twice in like the same area. We're getting ready to. What was that? We were defending the settlement, and we were setting up the defenses, and it crashed twice right there.
That was very annoying.
Like, oh my god, come on! But it was fun. I do enjoy it. I was watching you, and you were playing. She's playing. What the fuck is that? Pinball. The Walking Dead pinball simulator on the FX2. Is it FX?
It's the Xbox One.
Yeah.
FX.
It was kind of funny because I went in the living room. I was like, "What are you playing?" I was like, "Oh, you're playing the pinball." She's like, "I didn't know we had it." And so she's leaning back in our recliner, got a blanket on her, and she's good. I go to the bathroom. It takes a couple minutes, so you can take a guess which one. Come back out. She's no longer reclined comfortably in her chair. She's leaning forward, controller between her knees, like concentrating at the screen. It's like, uh-oh, someone got serious about it.
Hey, all I gotta say is I beat Ashton's score. Okay, that's
You
what
did.
mattered the most.
You did, yeah. You beat it by about 2 million. But given I haven't played that in forever. I mean, if I really wanted to, I suck at pinball so hard. I enjoy it, but I suck at pinball. Oh, it's so rough on me. I don't know why. It's ridiculous.
I love pinball.
Yeah, it's fun. You're a pinball wizard. That's what they used to call you. Pinball wizard Chris back in the 80s. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
I just love it.
She was there with Mikey and Dusty Buns and all sorts of stuff back at the Starcourt Cafe and Starcourt
and their
Food Mart. Yeah.
never-ending story.
Susie Poo and Dusty Buns.
Yep, Susie Poo and Dusty Buns were there.
Maybe we should be careful. No spoilers.
Now, I think as long as we stick right there. Which, by the way, the ending of Stranger Thing ends with Chernobyl. It was a very twist ending. But they all ended up in Chernobyl, and it blew up. It was really weird. It was a strange ending. Elle had no point whatsoever in the end. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry.
And they all died.
I was thinking of Daenerys in Game of Thrones. No, I'm sorry. Elle's still a good character.
Let's not go there.
No. I think we all watched that it really is a good series. It really,
I will say,
it makes me feel like I'm in the 80s again.
Dude, I love it. Yes.
Yeah, it does.
The cereals, all the boxes of old cereals and stuff.
I remember it all, man. It's glorious.
Oh my god, that fucking couch.
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to that song,
Everyone had that couch.
I'm not going to ruin it because people might not have seen the end of
Right.
the show,
Yeah.
season 3 yet. But if you look up that song and just read the lyrics without the music, it's kind of twisted, and maybe that's a hint. Just saying, you should check.
Oh, I'll take a look at that. Yeah. Well, Never Ending Story was a weird show. All those shows from the 80s. I mean, look at some of the one that's coming back. Dark Crystal is coming to Netflix as a series.
Yes.
I mean, that movie
tired.
originally is fucking. It's terrible. I remember actually being scared of the Skeksis as a kid. They
Oh, yeah.
terrified me. They were
Especially
scary.
since they were the last 2 gelflings. Like the rest of them got slaughtered.
Yeah.
I actually just saw that for the first time.
Wow,
maybe
really?
2 weeks ago.
Really? What'd you think?
It didn't age well,
No, it did not age well.
but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, like story-wise, it was pretty. It made a good creative world.
Yes.
It is weird though. As a kid, I couldn't see the people in the stuff, and now we watched it. What did we watch that, Sib? Like a couple years ago again.
Yeah, I think probably.
I think we
about
watched
2.
it with Nina, Cheyenne, our daughter. Pick a name; they're both the same person. And it's weird seeing it today with the eyes of an adult, because you're like, oh well, yeah, that's clearly the ass of a human being sticking out of the back of that, you know. Or the one that was really gets you. Return to Oz, the really creepy version.
Loved it.
Oh, it's great.
I loved it.
Oh, it's
The
great,
Wheelers.
but
The Wheelers.
The
Oh my
Wheelers
God.
were fucking creepy,
Super creepy.
especially
I've never
that
seen
scene
that.
when.
I'll have to.
Oh,
I'll
you
have to
never
watch
seen?
that.
Oh my gosh, you
you'll
gotta
dig
watch
it.
it.
They may
It's-
not have aged well, but there's a certain magic from movies back then that just
Yeah.
can't
Practical
replicate it.
effects.
Yeah.
Practical effects.
Yeah, man, they were so
Those
good.
Skeksis were terrifying.
Oh yeah, but the Return to Oz, it's got that girl. Remember the goth chick from The Craft?
Which one?
The main one, the one that would super balls crazy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's the little girl.
Okay.
She plays.
Those are the Wheelers.
Yeah, those are the Wheelers. The ones when they had their masks on, that was creepy.
There's the one, because all they did, their masks were on top of their heads,
Yeah,
and all they did was they tilted their heads down to go forward.
yeah.
So there's one, and you can kind of see the face and the mask.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, one of my favorite
Stuff of
shows.
nightmares, y'all.
Especially when they hit that
Oh,
desert and
here.
turned to sand. That was terrifying. But yeah,
And
that's worth a view.
Chickens.
Chickens. That's right.
Chickens.
It definitely doesn't.
I love it.
It definitely does not have the happy-go-lucky family feel of the one everybody knows and loves. It's definitely a more, as I understand it, it's a more realistic take on the actual stories and books of Oz, which were very creepy. So yeah, but no, it was fun watching Sib play through that and play through Gears of War. We want to finish through that. We never finished that one. But we've definitely done better on our computers, I think. Because I remember when we first did that defense thing, Sib, I think that took us 2 or 3 or 4 tries, and we just kept dying. And I think that was the inaccuracy of a remote compared to mouse and keyboard. That or we're just better at it. I like to think that we're just better at it.
I think you got better.
Yeah. So what about you? You play anything this week?
Just a little bit of Enter the Gungeon, and while I've been working, I like to have like YouTube and stuff playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching people go through levels on Mario Maker 2.
Oh, yeah.
It's been really interesting. Some people are just friggin' geniuses,
Sadistic bastards.
and some are sadistic bastards. Yeah, no, the genius ones are like, one of them, someone made a working Pong game.
I saw that. Yeah. That even keeps score.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and what I like about those two is I was watching it. I'm curious. I'm on the fence of getting it myself. I might eventually, but I like that if you create a level, you can't publish it unless you yourself can beat it.
Without,
Cheating.
no, without. Oh my god, brain fart. Without the middle points, checkpoints.
Right. Yeah. You have to
Wow,
be. Yeah.
English. I can
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, you have to be able. You have to, which is kind of neat because it has a weird. Like, if you're really good at those games, you could come up with some crazy shit. But if you're like, probably us here that haven't played a Mario game, side-scrolling Mario game in forever, your levels are going to be a little limited.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing. I've was watching some of them and it's just like, what the.
Did you see the one that was an escort quest?
No, I haven't seen that one.
It was I'm not going to describe it very well, but it was just complete genius. Like, it was a bunch of traps and this little Koopa that you had to get from point A to point B.
Huh.
And like, you would have to hit switches to make it safe for him to go across, and
right.
then hit the switch again. And it was so well done. I was just so, like, people are just
it's
really creative. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it is always neat when they do forget. Oh, what was that I just saw? EverQuest, Daybreak Games. Aside from actually breaking themselves up into two companies, which I recently heard, one of them will be Darkpaw Games, obviously named after Fippy Darkpaw, which I assume that one will have all their MMOs. And then there was another one which was R something Games, Royal Space Games, or something, some weird Rogue Space Games or something like that. And I assume that will take on like their H1Z1 failure, game, and PlanetSide 2 and all that. And I'm wondering if they're doing that because H1Z1 ended up being kind of a huge flop after marginal success, and they doubled down and changed so much of it that it ended up flopping in the Battle Royale genre of Fortnite and PUBG and all that. Now Apex Legends. So I'm wondering if they split that up to help save their cash cows from crashing out and going bankrupt as well when those other two games may be shut down. Just a theory. I have nothing to back that up. And it just seems like they're going like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon from Columbus Nova, the Russian consortium that basically runs and owns all those things. But they also, after promising to keep it, I think, back just as far back as May, quietly ended their that thing they had where people could make items and then sell them on that little cash shop thing with approval. They, despite assuring everyone that no, that's doing fine and it's going to stay around, silently closed it for EverQuest. So there's that. I'm just sooner or later, I just want to hear Daybreak Games sells EverQuest franchise to anyone but them.
Or EA.
Yeah, or honestly, I don't know.
EA.
I don't. At this point, I'd be like, can't be worse.
If they're losing that much money, it makes sense they're going to shut down the asset store.
No, don't say that, because then EA is going to be like, hold my beer.
Right. At least it would get updates that aren't rehashes. I mean, sure, there's every item's going to be a DLC, loot box.
Yeah, you'll get the Star Wars Old Republic treatment, like I'm playing for free right now, and like it just sucks because
it's awful.
There's things I just can't do because everything is locked down. By the way, if you spend this money, you could have a bigger inventory. I'm sitting there thinking, what happened to the freaking handmade backpacks EQ1 sell? Nope. Got to pay us for the privilege.
Yeah. But to go away from the negative, I do have one good story, fingers crossed, of a possible new Lord of the Rings online MMO. It was announced, I think it was announced back in last September. It's Athlon Games, owned by Leu Technologies, which is the company that owns Warframe, which is a very successful kind of shoot-'em-up MMO. Warframe was kind of garbage when it first came out, but it's a free-to-play thing, and it runs really well. And it's actually, I didn't stick around with it, but I enjoyed my time with it. It has a lot of very positive attributes. But apparently they announced they are still working on the new free-to-play massive multiplayer online video game, which is set in the Lord of the Rings universe, and it's said to be set in the prequel times. They also claim that it won't interfere with Lord of the Rings Online. See Star Wars Galaxy for that load of bullshit. Oh yeah, Star Wars The Old Republic won't interfere with Galaxies, and we're closing it.
It was a dark
They
day
didn't
after
close
they
it.
killed my game. Yes.
Yeah. But no, apparently it's on top of that, it's also being done by the so far unreleased anything that they've done as of yet Amazon Game Studios that popped out in the press saying now it's involved in a special collaboration with it. So I don't know. It's there's the Amazon also has the upcoming TV show. So according to this on Massively OP, there's of course there'd be a possibility of cross promotion. I just hope that they don't do that thing where they like, oh, the show's almost out. We better rush this thing out, because that won't do anybody any good. And the strange thing is Amazon Game Studios already working on one MMO, that New World, which is set kind of in like the 1700 colonial expansion times of Spain and Italy and all that stuff coming to a new world, hence New World.
Sounds like Silk Road with a European expansion.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, it's good news that maybe there's a more modern, more up-to-date Lord of the Rings online game, because Lord of the Rings Online is a good game, but it is really showing its age.
It'd be the second age. It might be pretty cool.
Yeah. If it have a lot of promise, a lot of magic, it definitely would make more sense to do the magic in that age than it does in like Lord of the Rings Online.
Oh yeah.
Which is always funny because a lot of the role players there, they get real bent out of shape about a lot of little things, but they're like, but I'm a wizard. Well,
They are the most fanatical role players sticking to lore I've ever seen. And man, there's like almost no breathing room.
Yeah, I can't think of any others that would be on that level.
What, Lord of the Rings?
On the Lord of the Rings role players, as far as like the lore level of lore Nazism, like community wide.
Oh yeah,
because Final Fantasy 14 is pretty high fantasy. EQ and EQ2, they pretty much go out of their way. Star Wars is a little limited, but there's so much EU stuff, even though it's Legends now. There's still so much EU stuff that they pull from Extended Universe that it's pretty free flowing. ESO.
Lord of the Rings is almost like a religion.
Yeah, they've got vampire. They've got all that stuff. So yeah, Lord of the Rings. I can't think of anyone who would be quite the sticklers for lore that the Lord of the Rings roleplay community is. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely can be a turnoff to new players when, as Jazz has said multiple times, when she misspelled like one word without the apostrophe and she got like 3 corrections and tells. Right, calm down, Gandalf. You're scaring the newbies.
I mean, that level of nerd back when the old original Neverwinter Nights had their online mod community, and they had a server that was specifically Dragonlance, and I didn't read that. I was like, I'm just gonna make a drow and do my deal. Then I got politely told by many people there's no drow in Dragonlance. I just like, oh wow, these nerds are on the right, but they're doing their deal to me, and I was like, okay, cool, I respect that, but at the same time, it's like, good gracious, these people are about it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going there, actually, it made me think of. I think what we might do an episode, this next one or the one after it, about the different feels of each community, but depending on the game, because each one, something Jazz said, how each one feels different, and they really do when you think about it. The one for Matrix Online back in the day felt nothing like the Star Wars Galaxy. Star Wars Galaxy feels nothing like the Tor one of current. They all have a different ebb and flow and feel to them, depending. I don't know if that comes from the lore or the type of people it brings in. I have no idea. So,
hands down, Secret World had the best community. Like, everybody was nice. Like, I don't think I ran into any dicks.
Really?
And if somebody was a dick, a bunch of people in chat would call them out for it.
Huh. Be like, hey,
it was uncanny. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Calm down, kind of thing.
Yeah, everyone was really helpful and stuff. I've never seen anything like it in any other game.
That is interesting. It's a shame I couldn't get past like the first town.
Yeah,
it's just such a clunky game for me. That's my problem with it.
It is.
I love the premise. It's just so
Me too.
clunky.
It's so right up our alley.
Yeah. But all right, well, so here's hoping. Keep your fingers crossed. Amazon doesn't fuck up. The two, not just their MMO, but a Lord of the Rings MMO now as well is in their hands. So fingers crossed, nerds. It's gonna be either a fantastic next couple of years or just a continual disappointment that we've been going on for half a decade now.
Or you'll get the pay to win Demogorgon dropped in your nuts. Either
Nah,
way.
it could be that too. All right, so today's topic, expanding and expansions. Not expanding like I do when I continually eat. That's a different type of expansion. It is, however, continual and vast. Yeah, anyway. Hornbowl boogie. So where are we going? All right. Expansions. I mean, they're a great part of MMOs. They bring a lot of new things. They bring a lot of new mechanics. They bring a lot of new worlds, classes, characters, races. That's what I meant to say.
Classes. Did you already say class?
Yes. Yep, I did say glasses. Sometimes they even do bring glasses. Glasses with classes.
Fashion.
Oh, that's one of the best parts about it. I know that's the fabulous side of me. One of the best things about new expansions is definitely the clothing, because I like.
You know what?
Chic.
You make fun of it.
Oh, I'm not making fun of it.
Being our peers.
Oh, I'm absolutely dead serious.
It is important.
Yeah.
Oh no, I still on Xanus. One of my favorite things from the Kunark expansion was some of the outfits that they had in that, because they looked awesome on him. And even after people stopped, a few people wore him there, but he is such a different character. A lot of people didn't use him. It was those ones that Yunfei will remember, those ones like that had the weird outlines and squiggles on the arms, so it looked like it was torn up and stuff. I loved those. Loved it. Oh, well. Yep. I dig on the fashion, but, I have to do my fashionista voice, because that's what you do today. It's not mocking if it's true.
Yeah, man. Banks full of clothes when you're an RP player. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
One of the worst things that happened to me logging back into Star Wars The Old Republic for the first time like 3 or 4 months ago now was figuring out what the fuck all the clothes were. Like which ones I had in my bag that were fashion and which ones were actually useful. That took me longer than figuring out what the fucking skills did again. And then I had to go through the then I made the mistake of clicking on the bank.
Oh, Lord.
Just pages and pages of shit. I had no idea what it was. Like, this is a lot of clothes. I think I might have a hoarding problem.
Yep.
But, new clothes. So, but, in some of them, they a lot of times they do make the game better. Very rarely do they actually... Do they make it take a step back if you're lucky at worst, they just leave it as an even keel and just expand on what's already there, but don't really add to it, which is what Final Fantasy 14's kind of had for. That's what Stormblood was. I'm playing through Stormblood now, and I could see why it was kind of a dud 2 years ago. But I thought you said
it's funny you mentioned that the ad we had. Talking about the bunny invasion. Mm-hmm. Reminds me of EQ2 when we had the Fae, because then we had a Fae invasion. Yep. Or, let's take it back even further. When Kunark first dropped, and suddenly you start seeing rogue Ixars in the mainland, you're like, who are these guys?
Sarnak. Even the Sarnaks, even though they were goofy.
Oh, yeah, and then the Sarnaks in EQ2 as well. I forgot about those
They
guys.
weren't nearly as bad because, they're Sarnaks. It was a little bit of a weird racial choice to put in the game as a player thing, I have to say. The werewolves, or not the werewolves, was it the Free Bloods? A lot of those showed up real quick.
Oh, yeah.
But they kind of burnt out pretty fast, too. You know that? Now that if you really think about it, they didn't stick around long. But,
no.
Final Fantasy 14, they brought it, this last expansion, Shadowbringers, they brought in the Vera, which are the bunny girls, and they brought in. I'm just gonna call them the Cathar because it doesn't really matter. They're whatever the big kitty guy was with the horn in his thing from Final Fantasy X that was protecting Yuna as a guardian. It's that race. So far, that seems to be about a 20-to-1 ratio of new characters, bunny girls to cat guy, Cathar guys.
Oh, hey, Rufus is. Hey, what's going on, Rufus? This one must steal the mic. This is blatant theft of Khajiit people into other games. That's all.
No, it's not.
All right, well, he's gone because
Yeah,
I guess Crazy
he's-
Kitty. Anyway,
Let's see here. I'm just gonna drive me crazy. What are they called? They are the rabbit-eared. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Vera. I always called them Vera. It might be Vaira or something like that. And then there is the. I don't know. Everything always here is about the Vera. It's like the picture even has the Hrothgar. That's it, Hrothgar, which is very easy to say because it doesn't make it sound like you're swallowing your own tongue with the Hrothgar.
it sounds like High Hrothgar in Skyrim.
Hrothgar. Yeah, so you can be a Hrothgar or a Vera. Yes, quite so. Yes, sexy bunny girl, as you know. Final Fantasy XII, of course, being where they first came in. Everyone had British accents, and it was one of the few games where the English version was actually far superior to the Japanese version, just because, well, I don't even know how you do a British accent in Japanese. I have to it makes you wonder, too. What, to Japanese people, somebody that's from England, learning Japanese, what does that accent sound like to the Japanese?
Probably like an English accent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would, but do they have that same, like, is it like when we hear English people speaking, like, wow, you sound so sophisticated, and even though what you're saying is but stupid, it sounds really smart. Or are they just like, y'all don't even know how to speak the language? You know? Does it just sound like, do the English people speaking Japanese just sound like, to Japanese people just sound like redneck Americans? That's what I wonder.
I don't know, but when I lived in the Netherlands and I would try to speak Dutch to people, everyone, as soon as I opened my mouth, they were like, "You're American."
You got the cutest accent. There was
How did you know that? And they're like, "You have an American accent."
Mhm.
Oh God.
I remember the first time I thought of this was I forget her name now, but she was Russian. Her and her brother. I remember Alex because I called him Al, partly because of Aladdin, and it was also easier. His name was actually Alexei. No relation to the other Alexei. But when I was learning words from her, she would always say, "You have the cutest American accent." You know, it's like I'm not saying exactly right. She's like, "He's a little off. He's a little off." I'm like, okay. Privet. He's a little off. Privet. And so I'm saying. Privet. Just hello. But yeah, I don't know. Random thought. So, expansions. They're fun. They're good things. All right, wrapping up the show. Anybody else? I got anything? Good. One good thing about
be good things.
Sometimes
they can just be a train wreck.
Yeah, or like poor ESO's recent one. From what I've heard, everyone's just kind of like, it was a thing that happened. I mean, it's kind of sad when the best part about your expansion is people were happy with the Necromancer class. Like, when the class is the best part of your whole expansion, all that new content, and like, the good new class to play through the old content is fun. Ooh.
I don't even remember what was the expansion for ESO. Like, I knew there was one, but I don't even remember what it was about.
It's elsewhere. They added the
Elsewhere.
Necromancer.
Yep, elsewhere, the home of the Khajiit. Another desert
Rufus's
place.
house. Yeah.
Giant cat box in the sky. It's not in the sky, it's on the ground, but still. One good thing about having expansion come out to your favorite game, it can breathe fresh light into a stale game and may open up new and exciting storylines. And that is hopefully the outcome that you get, which seems to be Final Fantasy XIV seems to have that going on right now. The last expansions for Star Wars: The Old Republic definitely did that. I played through those, and those were fucking awesome. They really changed the state of
Stepped up
the
their
galaxy.
game,
Oh yeah, and it changed the entire narrative of the galaxy too, which is something I think I have further down because at one point, spoiler alert if you haven't done it, from one expansion from the Knights of the Eternal Throne to Knights of, I forget what order they go into, but there's a 5-year jump between one and the other. Like the timeline of your character skips 5 years, and things happen in that 5-year period when you're not around, and then then you're playing catch up through the rest of the story, which is great. But how in your role play, it'd be weird at the time if you're like I can only imagine all the role players. Oh, great, new expansion. That's going to be so much fun. 5 years later. Shit. Because it was the war between the Republic and the Empire, and then 5 years later you had this entire other thing with the Eternal Throne having basically taken both of them off the playing board and nullified them, and they were ruling the galaxy for about a 5-year time period. And then that's when your character comes back in and is, being the savior of the world, no matter what class you're playing. So
that does suck because then, like, people who haven't done that yet, haven't done those quests yet, have no idea that the world has changed.
Yeah.
So, well, like, how do you deal with that?
Well, I did that actually because I was role playing before I had gotten to that part, and I didn't even realize at the time. I knew about the Eternal Empire, and I knew that apparently they were obviously big players on the field. I fudged. I did so much fudging. I opened up like a candy store. Willy Wonka called me. He's like, "Dude, the fudge, it's fantastic. You have the best fudge. Give me your recipe." It was a lot of like one person's like, "Yes, our new empress." I'm like, "Yeah, she's great, isn't she? I love that bitch. She's fantastic." What the fuck is the empress?
Love it.
We have an empress now? What the fuck happened to the... Oh, and then I learned what happens to, the emperor and all that stuff, and why the Asina ends up taking over in the end. Again, all happened during that 5-year period. They went, bloop, let's cut, snip, put it to the floor. We're going to wrap it up. Wrap it up, people. So it was interesting to... You just kind of had to fudge along the edges of that one the entire time. And once I got caught up and realized where the current timeline actually was as opposed to where I originally thought it was, my character was already gone for a few years. What's if 5 more, really? It's like, sure, why not? I was off fighting the Eternal Throne in my own way, getting out of the secretly Empire stuff. Things. Sabotage, whatnot.
That does sound pretty cool.
Oh, it is a great story. If you play through it, man, if you role play or whatever, just play through it. If you liked Knights of the Old Republic, like I know you did with the Revan stuff, play through it all. Just play through it. You'll enjoy it. It's a damn good story.
I don't have any of the X packs. So I literally a couple days ago hit the level 50 level cap, and I was like, well, that sucks for being free to play.
Yeah. It's worth it for that stuff if you're able to get through it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's worth playing it as a single player game, which is sad to say for an MMO. It was an enjoyable experience to play my MMO as a single player game.
That's what it feels like, that whole game.
Yeah.
I mean, but as for expansions, back in the day when Kunark dropped in EQ1. Man, that was the craziest thing that had ever happened. People were going nuts for it. I was terrified to go there because it's like death was on around every corner and every
every name was red.
Everything.
Yep.
But now that I'm playing Project 1999 every so often, like I'm taking the time to go explore everything. I was too terrified to explore.
You really had a sense of fear for everything, didn't you?
Dude, man, I used to call that place Jurassic Park, and I was like, I did not go there. So all the XR are running wild.
Yeah. No, it's kind of funny when you say that, because now, like, I'll go into a new zone and anything, and either like ESO, it's your level. It just levels to you, so it's the same level of difficulty as the zone you just came from. You're just on a higher level, but it's the same. It's literally like fighting the same stuff.
Yeah.
But back then, man, you went into a new expansion when you were under-leveled, and every name was red. And not only was it red, it was like 10 levels above you red.
Yeah, it was pants shitting.
Yeah. And
The best part to explain it is you just get to the over there. You're like, let's just say you're upper 40s. Oh, cool. We can just level to 50 here. Hey, this zone dive goes to some place called, what's this place called? Skyfire Mountains? Hey, let's check that.
Oh god.
Instant death sauce.
Lake of Ill
Lake of Ill
Omens? What's a Lake of Ill? Oh my, I see that. Okay, yeah.
Story.
Huh. Yeah.
Dreadlands. This is neat. What's all? Oh god, it's a super dog coming after me. Super Knoll. Train to zone.
Oh look.
No, it does.
Oh, look at that thing. What's that? Is that a worm? Is that? Oh, worms are. Oh, that's a worm. That's a wormy worm. Yeah, that was definitely a different time for MMOs. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they won't. Who knows? But
I do kind of.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I do kind of enjoy sometimes going back and checking it out, because there are places that maybe you were too terrified to go, but now the game is so old, you can check it out on EMU.
Right.
Or somebody drops. I remember I was playing this when Kunark was out, and I remember them dropping Velius, and everybody in the server went nuts. And I was like, I remember Velius, but I don't remember Velius.
Oh,
I remember
man,
it EQ2. So when I saw the gnomish, what do you call it? Stupid icebreaker boat. I was like, oh, the feels. I remember this now.
Oh yeah, the what's the icy tower thing? I did a lot of kiting on my druid in front of that. Yeah.
Tower of Shadows.
Tower
I
of
sat
Shadows.
in that freaking tower for 2 weeks, camping. What was it called? The Sorcerer's Bowl or something?
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Bowl.
That's it, bro. That's Harry Potsmoker and the Sorcerer's Bowl. I'm just
Harry
saying.
Potsmoker and the Sorcerer's Bowl, man.
Hey, it was medicinal.
Puff puff pass. Oh my god. Okay, sorry, ADD moment. Speaking of medicinal, so I'm on my way back to the post office today after I'm in my mail truck, windows down because it's 90 degrees out, and that's our air conditioner. The dispensary right around the corner from the post office. This car with these two teenagers, pulls into the turn lane next to me. They didn't stop next to me. They just pulled out of that parking lot, drove by slowly, and then stopped way in front of me. The smell of pot was overwhelming, and all they did was drive by.
Yeah.
Would you dare say you got a contact high?
I was like, Snoop Dogg, are they having him in the trunk? What the hell is going on? I didn't even see anything lit, and just them driving by was like, oh my god!
And one of my neighbors is like that too.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah. It's like, look, I don't mind.
I just like some warning.
Just buy some less skunky stuff.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was definitely assault on the senses. But sorry I spent a lot of time in there just because I wanted the gnome skin, whatever that was just completely black. It had no texture. It just made your character blacked out.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had that on my druid. So that was awesome. He looked badass because black always is so slimming on your 18 polygon body. So.
Oh yes.
But the stories, it's always cool with the expansions. It's one of the most promising thing is the continuation of the lore and the world's storyline. EverQuest 2 had some pretty good ones when they did that thing with the dragons in both cities, put that giant magical dome over Freeport and Kinos, and you look up and you could actually see, I assume they were actually probably tiny dragons, but they were, perspective-wise, they were supposed to look big, and they were beating against it, and you'd see the wong of energy. You guys, anyone else remember seeing that briefly?
Yep, I remember that.
I don't. It was before my.
No, I think it was after we had quit. I just saw videos of it.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I think that's after me.
Yeah, it was after our time. But I every now and then I logged in just to free to play, so I was like, let's see what that looks like. Yep, that's cool. All right, logging out.
I recall my freaking dark elves, lamenting, saying, "One day those dragons are gonna get through and burn these upstart humans to the ground." Fortunately, I'm safe in Neriak. So yeah, those were good times.
Yeah, where all you have to do is put your mouth up to the entryway and blow hard.
Apparently so, right? I mean, who knew?
That's how it works in every bomb down a tunnel. It just travels all the way down. So with the storylines and stuff like that's really exciting and new, and you're always hopeful that it will be something good. It doesn't always follow through, but that's not on our end. That's it's lazy writing, as Deadpool said. It does give you new places to adventure and roleplay, and clothing from those places. And some expansions bring new homes. ESO is really good about that. Almost every expansion gives you a new home or two that you might be able to purchase. And that's actually something I tend to I looked forward to, is to see what kind of new areas, what would be made into a home. I think it was ESO that I just saw. They had a new one, and they had to pull it because, I don't know, they didn't say why, but they pulled it. Yeah, it was ESO. Did you know anything about that, Strafe?
No, I know the Old Mary Grotto's back, that giant island cave with a ship in it. But I didn't hear about no house getting pulled.
Let's see. It says... Jode's, it was a player home, Jode's Embrace.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, well, it was a new one. It was for the July Crown Store offerings, and for some reason, Jode's in place was pulled, and they just say, due to an unforeseen issue, we have removed the Jode's Embrace player home and free T-shirt promotion from the July Crown Store offerings. We will notify everyone if we release this promotion and or home in the future. Thank you for your understanding.
It was probably some technical issue, like
some exploit,
my character getting stuck on that island,
or falling through the world constantly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
something
what I
that
assume. Something that couldn't be fixed easy.
It had to be a show-stopping bug, right? I mean, that's only
right, like something that, or even something that would crash your game and was requiring developers, or GMs to like remove you from the zone and put you back in the world. Even
they don't do that. My character is still stuck on that island to this day.
To this day, we hear her. Help me! No, really! I just wanted to play! Is it really hard to /stuck me? Really? Come on, guys! This isn't funny!
It was awful. I had so many tickets.
But yeah, so I imagine for them to pull something that was going to make them money off the store, it had to be pretty game breaking or character ruining or something like that. So yeah, but when it works right, it can be neat.
Speaking of expansions, Fallout 76 that is getting NPCs in the world soon.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think it's going to be a faction system. I just have the feeling it looks like settlers and raiders right now.
Oh, that'd be a good idea. I didn't actually catch on to that. You could be right. It'd be interesting to see how they would implement that. But no, you guys having actual NPCs in that game, I can only imagine. I don't think they made it seem like it was like, this was our idea the whole time, is that now that you guys have been out there for a year, settlers are moving back into Appalachia. No, I'm pretty sure it was because everybody deadpan and said your world felt dead without actual people to talk to. Pretty sure it was
the story just reinforces it, because you literally follow the story and everyone's going to be killed off by that virus from the freaking scorch beast.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm just glad you're doing it. We'll go ahead and give you a nod for listening to your fan base. of millions of people that were really, really upset with the fact that
Yeah.
it was like, oh, is this person going to be... Oh, nope, you're dead, and there's a voice recorder. Of course there is.
Well, hopefully it brings NPC quests, that kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
factions. Maybe hopefully they open up another part of West Virginia. That'd be neat. Or probably maybe this at the north part of North Carolina or somewhere just around there.
Yeah, but there's no handy songs about, like, North Carolina. I don't know.
That's true.
Is there? I mean, there has to be like with your battle royale. I mean, they had I stepped into burning ring of fire. They had that song to go with it. So there has to be a song to go with their content, a famous song.
Yes and no. I mean, Fallout 3.
No. I'm just talking about 76 because they had the West
maybe.
Virginia song that made that real popular. And then Burning Ring of Fire went with that one.
Do you mean Country Roads?
Country Roads, yeah.
By John
West
Denver?
Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was very confused
That's
for a
the song.
second.
Country
Like, what the hell is he
Roads,
talking about?
lead me home.
To the place I belong, West Virginia.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Fallout 76, buy it now for $10 on Steam. I'm pretty sure that last part is in there now, officially.
I'll play it when they start just like, I don't know, make like the whole East Coast or something.
I mean,
they
good luck.
They just put in like the Washington D.C. from Fallout 3 in there as well, just tack it on like instant travel.
Well, maybe
Capital
it
Wasteland.
was a little wishful thinking, but
Might be a little
when I
bit of a
heard-
wishful thinking, yeah,
well,
just
when
a
I
little
heard
bit.
that Fallout 76 was coming out, I thought that they were gonna do like a mini United States, just all bust, and like you could travel from one state to another and kind of see recognizable places.
Silly
and then
girl.
it's all busted up.
In Fallout 4, you can actually go to, I think it's Far Harbor. I think it's part of Maine and the islands around Maine. So, hey.
Yeah, they did have that DLC, didn't they? Like the one that you went up to Anchorage for in one of the other DLCs, too.
Yeah, they did. That was a DLC for that one, for Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I have not played that. That
You have
sounds
not
awesome.
played Far Harbor? Oh, my
No,
goodness.
I played Fallout 4, but my problem with games like Fallout 4 is I never quite complete them because I'm always it's
Side
the
questing.
hold up a minute. Yeah.
Yep. Hold up a minute. This guy needs my help. Oh, hold up a
Yeah.
minute. Hold on, both you guys. This guy needs my help. Hold up a minute.
Oh, this guy lost his shovel.
His wife passed away, and he needs to help me bury her. Yep. Yep. Sorry, I was choking
Never
on
mind
my
that,
drink.
I had a son out there that I was supposed to be desperately looking for. I was just like, the kid can wait.
You can make another one. You could. They're easy. People. You can't make a pizza by accident, but you can make a kid by accident. Which one of these is easier to replace?
Yeah.
Just saying. You can make more kids. Is he really that special? You taught him stranger danger. You taught him not to talk to people. You taught him not to take candy, and he's still missing. I'm just saying, maybe, make another one. Try again. Restart. Hit the reset button.
Oh, goodness.
All right. So, like I said, new places to adventure, new homes. And I don't know about you, but who doesn't love a new place to decorate and then have some random role play in? This was also written up by Sib, and she is absolutely right. She does love to decorate.
She's a decorating master.
She's a decorating master. She's mastered the decoration.
She is, man.
That part of MMOs, like it pushes the Sims button. Whatever it is about the Sims that makes me happy, they put that in MMOs, like the decorating.
Mm-hmm. When they do it
things.
well, like the Star Wars,
Yeah.
the Old Republic version of it, where
It's
they have
pretty janky.
they have the hooks on the ground, like you can only put certain items in certain spaces, and like it's
really janky. I
it's-
stumbled into the other night.
yeah, it's not great. It's
As
better,
opposed to like ESO, where you could place the thing, or even EQ2,
or
right?
EQ2,
Ashen?
or
I mean,
Star
people
Wars
co-
Galaxies.
Or SWG, yeah.
EQ2 got really creative because
Even WildStar.
People would use items that for things that they weren't meant to be used for.
Sib.
Like, they would build a wall out of counters, you know.
Folks, still, every time we have poetry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, folks say every time we go with poetry, they love that bar. They just absolutely love it.
Well, it gave you something to do whenever there was no role playing going on, or there was no, you weren't running around questing.
Excuse me.
It was very time consuming. I mean, I spent hours upon hours of decorating. Okay, days.
Days and weeks.
Weeks.
Especially in EverQuest 2. I mean, ESO, you had a lot to work with, but EQ2, man, the resizing of shit, you were...
Yeah.
I mean, we would lose you for literally weeks at a time, and you'd be like, I want to come roleplay, but I really want to finish this house, you know? It's just, you were so good at that.
Yeah, I remember I actually got in-game money to decorate.
Nice.
We had what do you call it, Tython the other night, 2 nights ago, not this last one, the previous poetry hour, said, oh man, I didn't realize that Foley had redone your house. I'm like, yep, she was awesome. She's like, she is awesome, man. We still got all the cool folks from EQ2 and our decorators. And I was like, yep, they are pretty heck. Good luck getting an appointment, though.
Hop, 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 hop. Posh, 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 posh. Hop, hop,
Well, yeah, it's Typhon. He's kind of that lordly dark elf. Oh, oh, look, it's a pretty girl. Now he's gone. They're like, man, that's his deal.
Swing.
Pretty much.
He's like, dousing Rog with his dick. Swing, swing.
Oh, he was.
Oh, and Silverleaf, I will say,
so
there
bad.
is quite a bit of decor going on your bar. I noticed the awesome... Oh, look there, a Bosmer half-dressed. I'll see you later. Pretty much how it goes.
I think that was the same guy during one of the guild nights at the bar. There was pretty much nobody there. Ben and I were there, and we were trying to role play, but it was just dead. And he was sitting next to some lady character, and he looked at her, and he said, "Hey, you want to go upstairs and fuck?" And she went, "Yeah, okay."
I think he's a little. He's more subtle than that. That had to have been someone else. I'll give him that much. He's at least more subtle than.
It was
Want
just
some
so
fuck?
like.
Yeah.
No, it was just so like smoothly done. Just like, hey, want to bang? And she's like, yeah, all right.
Oh, gosh, memories.
Off they go.
What was that? The Rock said, "I'm gonna hit you like a Cherokee drum."
First thing that came to my mind, Uni, was
Which is
freaking...
funny because that's also what I say to Sib right before.
I didn't want to know that, bro, but all right.
What?
It's in my brain now.
No,
Dang.
no, he doesn't. No,
No, I never
Why
have.
you blushing? I can hear it in your voice.
No, I'm not blushing. It would be him blushing.
No,
Trust me, it would be him blushing.
all my blood somewhere else.
Oh my god. Oh god, end the show.
Suddenly, Commander Shepard from the internet comes out and says, well, bang,
But
okay.
no, I will say, Tython, he was cool about it. If you said no,
Mm-hmm.
that's all you needed to do. And he would still RP with you. He was still a cool cat. But yeah, he
He is the
liked
Scut
ladies.
Chaser.
Yeah, but all you had to do was say, not interested. And he's like, cool.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Achievement unlocked. Skirt Chaser Denier.
Denied. So let's see. Another great thing too, aside from the homes and that stuff, is especially these days. Back in my day, when you played an MMO, you only played that one MMO. You didn't need anything else like these dark kids today do. So these days, though, when an expansion comes out, it sucks in and vacuums up all the people that left over the last, 2 years, a year and a half beforehand after the previous expansion got stale. So it does vacuum in and bring back a lot of people that had unsubbed or wandered off to another MMO that's now gotten boring for them, so they'll come back over to this one. So either, they'll come in to do the new content, they'll check out their old roleplay buddies might be up to and say hi to people, and you'll get tells of like, "Oh, you're back," from the people that have stayed there the whole time, and you're like, "Yeah, I am, just, until I'm not." But there was one. It's back in the day. Like I said, you'd pretty much, when you if you played EverQuest, you played EverQuest. If you played WoW, you played WoW. There was some bleed over and things like that, of course, but it wasn't like today. Like even Yoshida, the director for Final Fantasy XIV, he got raked over the coals for saying this because, frankly, it's not something you would want your head guy of a MMO to say. But he was like, yeah, hey, if you guys, you play through our content and just go play something else and come back when the next expansion comes out. It's like, maybe that's something you really should be doing everything you can to keep us here always, so that we keep spending money and keep playing your game. You don't really want us to cancel our subscription and go off try WoW's expansion or ESOs or Star Wars, do you? It doesn't seem like a great business model. It seems like as a developer, you should do everything in your power to make people want to never touch another MMO as long as yours is still going strong. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you only listen to one podcast out there and it's ours, I want you to keep listening to ours. Don't if you're only going to listen to one roleplay podcast, which is easy because there's kind of just the one roleplay and MMOs podcast out there.
You want to retain your players,
right?
You don't want to. You want to keep them there, entertained, spending money in your loot store, whatever it is.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like,
now,
go try something else. It's okay. We'll be here.
Yeah, dude. And the problem now is I think we have too many options. I will bounce between EQ Project 1999. I'll go check out SWGMU. Then I'll jump into Tor. Then I'll be like, what's going on ESO?
Well, and
it gets still distracting.
Well, and it's not just that there's options, though. That can be part of it. But the fact of the matter is, we had options back in the old days of EverQuest 1 and stuff like that. There were other options. But you were committed to this one, and there were some good ones out there too. Right. I don't remember if Terra Nova was one. Anarchy Online was another one that was pretty good for the time. There were other MMOs that we could play, and they had very loyal fan bases too. But you didn't bounce around like we do today, and I think part of that is it's just the easy design of them. You'd get an expansion in EQ1 back in the like Kunark.
Back then, there was rivalry, amongst games.
Well, and Kunark was years worth of content. You had 2 years worth of content in that one expansion. Nowadays, you can go through the Elsewhere expansion in probably less than a month if you really played it a lot.
Before I graduated high school. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Uni.
Oh, no, you're not. It occurs to me you're not making such a huge investment in these new expansions. Whereas, for example, in EQ1, you got that expansion, you got Kunark, and there were things to go get. You still had to camp there for
2 weeks,
for a month or whatever, and it got to the point where you had just put so much time into this game. It was well, I'm not going to leave it now.
Why would I bail on this for some other newbie, shiny thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely not like that these days because you don't have to, spend 2 weeks in the Tower of Frozen Shadow looking for the bowl of reefer or whatever it was.
That's true. My mom is still like that. She's still playing EQ2, and I say, hey, dude, move to ESO, and she just won't do it. She's loyal to it.
Mm-hmm.
It took forever to get her off EQ1 to EQ2.
Oof, that was a bad move on your part. Should have left her alone.
But even still, I remember being in high school and there was kids that would, they would talk so much trash about EQ, saying, "Oh, it's just a mud with 3D." I was like, "What are you playing, Ultima Online?" It's like, go fly a kite with your Ultima Online, dude. It was.
But they loved it.
It's had rivalries. They did.
Yeah, and and those people in Ultima Online, they wouldn't try ever, regardless of the amazing updated graphics and fantastic systems.
That's right,
quote unquote. In the day, it was breathtaking. But they didn't want anything to do with it. I don't need that 3D garbage. I got my over-the-top, isometric stuff.
Now it's
I got my RuneScape,
Yeah, I play it now, and people are asking why I still play it. I said, because, bro, this is the OG Dark Souls. You have no idea.
Oh, yep. A lot less dodging, but very, very difficult.
There's something else I noticed, too, about the newer expansions. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not played an MMO in at least a couple years now, except for Secret World. And I don't think that has expansions. But anyway. So like in EQ1, you would get... Yeah, DLC. In EQ1, they would do like Kunark, plus you get a month free.
Right.
And a couple of extra little things. And then, like Velios came out, and they're like, okay, well, you get another free month and, a couple little extra things. But, like, I haven't really seen that too much.
No. They give you, they might give you a couple extra little things, but they won't.
But you don't get that free month anymore.
No,
you gotta go. They're shifted it to the pre-order extortion now.
Right. Yeah, pre-order.
Pre-orders were
pre-order and you'll get to play 4 days early.
And you get this stuff because early and money.
Wouldn't that just be the release date then? Because like I forget what it was. I don't remember which expansion, but there was an expansion. Like, the day before the pre-order thing started. Oh, no, I think it was actually a day after it started. It's like, I'll just pre-order it now. And I instantly got access to it. It's like, well, that's not really a pre-order bonus if I did it after a day after the pre-order start early thing happens and you're in the middle of the start early phase and I pre-order it now, which is technically just ordering it, isn't it? It's not really a benefit. This is your official launch date, not the 3 days later from now. It's what kind of bait and switch crap is this?
You found the loophole, bro.
Right. It's not really and I wasn't like in a hurry to try it or anything. It was just like, oh sure, why not? It's a thing. So, yeah, whatever. But yep,
but
so
like
people come back.
That falls into the whole wanting people to stay with your game. Yeah, you put out an expansion, you give them that free month to explore the expansion.
Yeah.
But then again, on the other hand, you put out that expansion and people bust through it in like a week.
Right, yeah, because you could finish these expansions in a week. I'm pretty sure even people have finished Shadowbringers, and it's been out for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
You
see that everywhere now.
Yeah, and they're all like that. It's not. I'm not bashing on Final Fantasy or ESO. They're all like that. Star Wars. I'm sure when I busted through 2 expansions and all the DSC. 3 expansions because I hadn't played through the Revan one yet either. So I played through 3 expansions in Star Wars: The Old Republic in 2 months.
Wow.
2 maybe 3, and I wasn't playing full time. That was still with me playing all sorts of shit on the side.
Compare that to back in the day. I still have never seen the inside of where's Trakanon's teeth. Is that his dungeon? Like I've never been in that dungeon. Never been in there. I've never seen parts of Kunark or Velios. Like I just haven't in EQ1.
Yeah, same here.
EQ2, I've seen it all. But EQ1, nope. It's too dangerous.
There's still entire areas you're like, how about no?
I'll probably never see the inside of Vishan's Peak in EQ1. He never did then. Probably never will now.
Yep.
It's a giant raid, and you got to be at top of your stuff.
You'll never see the Sleeper awaken.
Nope.
That's because that only happened once.
But then again, that's
you're digging on that, aren't you, Sib?
Yeah.
Funny stuff, but seriously, you burn through content now. In the old days, you really couldn't.
Yeah, no. Just think of that. I did. I burned through 3 expansions, and because Star Wars has the non-renewable, like you can spend $60. It's $15 a piece for 2 months, or no, $30. $30. Wow, that's a terrible. You can do $15 a month or $60 for 2. Sign me up, Sarge.
I was gonna say
that sounds like a great deal. So I did that because it was non-renewable. So I did just $30. So it signed me up for 2 months, and it didn't auto-renew because that way I wouldn't forget and just keep charging myself $15 for a year and a half before I'm like, God damn it. Not that that's happened. And I think I was halfway through the last expansion when that finally came up. And again, that's with me playing my Mortal Kombat, all sorts of other games that I was also playing at the time.
Right.
It was not exclusive. So that's, yeah, you can really burn through them. But it does bring people back. I know that's one of the problems right now with, and it may be shuffling off now that 14's expansions has been out a little bit. But I did notice, as I said in the last episode, a huge decline in people in Star Wars Galaxies, and Jazz, and I think you had said that you noticed a huge decline in ESO roleplay as well after the 2
You
weeks
talking about
ago.
Tor?
Yeah. Well, no, in ESO and Tor, when Final Fantasy XIV's expansion rolled out a couple weeks ago, it declined across games. I'm sure someone in WoW is like, where the heck is half the people? You know? And then
because they're bouncing to the new content somewhere else.
They'll play, but then that's the sad thing is they'll play through it and then they'll probably bounce back. You know, maybe it'll tickle a bone because I've heard Shadowbringers is super good, so maybe they'll stick around a little longer, and maybe not, and they'll just bounce back to where they go back to where you came from, you darn WoW player.
Get back to where you once belonged.
The trolls that bounce around.
There
Come in for the expansion and then stay for the trolling, and then they finally leave. They get bored after a certain.
That's because their tiny penises have to be looked after. And I don't know what that has to do with it. It's just a dick joke about how small it is because that's what they have to do to make themselves feel big. Like those guys that squeal out in Quick Trip or gas station parking lots. Like, look how manly I am.
Oh God, I know, right? You can see their wang just hanging out the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're what?
I
don't know what.
Sorry, that was cute.
What do you What do you have against the Wangs? What has that family ever done to you?
When I see derpheads doing that, I'm like, whoa, gee, they're showing their intelligence off. Like, seriously, this is ridiculous.
It's funny too because my mail route it's a Quick Trip, which is for those not in the Midwest, which they're slowly expanding outwards.
QT.
Expect them in your city soon, and trust me, once you go to a Quick Trip, you won't want to go to any of those piece of shit things that run with the plexiglass that separates you and the cashier ever again.
Unless you go to Buc-ee's.
Or gives you a Buc-ee's is damn good.
Yeah, but Buc-ee's doesn't have the glass separating piece.
Yeah, but Buc-ee's is like...
Buc-ee's is like the Walmart Superland of gas stations.
Yeah, it's like the Walmart of Quick Trip.
Yeah, it really is.
And their jerky. Fantastic jerky at Buc-ee's. But anyway, I
QT,
have a quick Trip on my route, and when I'm not at Quick Trip, I'm delivering like cluster boxes and stuff behind there, at the neighborhood behind it. And every now and then, I hear, like, fucking Quick Trip just lunatics. And it's always some guy with a truck that's like, 18 feet off the ground. And he's like that. Has anybody seen that picture of that little that guy with the little Napoleon complex bitching at the women in the bagel shop recently?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yes.
They're like that guy. Even if they don't look like him, they're that guy. That's that guy.
See, I don't do that per se. The only thing I will do is if there's like a good 80s song on or a good George Strait song, I'll crank my windows down and raise the volume just a little bit higher and just roll through with my glasses. People look at them just like, yeah, that's what's up. Let's keep going.
Yeah, but that's different than
it's burning your gas, spinning out, and causing havoc.
Being a douche, being a Chad. Quit being a Chad.
In my case, you're just gonna hear it's the final countdown by Europe or something like that when I go by.
Yeah. So another good thing too. With most expansions comes neat little items, such in the ESO, you get those mementos that can be fun and used for different roleplay scenarios. I gotta say, I did love ESO's mementos, because you put them in Diet Coke and they just blow up everywhere.
Mentos freshening.
But no, the little like special effects kind of things, those were always cool. I loved one of the things I loved in EQ2 from their card game was those special cards where you could get like the different glowing fists or the glowing eyeball things, the special effects that you could add to your character.
Yeah.
Those were awesome. I love when she not wanting to go out. somebody doesn't want to go potty. It's spoiler alert. It's Sib.
Dang.
But no, the little just anything that adds to your 15 pieces of flair in an MMO usually comes through an expansion like that. Or these days, I guess it can also come through the cash shop randomly, but usually it seems to come around the time of an expansion. And those are so cool.
I will say I liked the capes in EQ2 because a lot of them were like
yeah.
in ESO.
Oh,
the capes
yeah.
would give you really neat little. I remember I had one that I can't remember which one it was, but it made it look like my character had frost around her.
Yeah, it was like the frost fog, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a frost fog. It was really cool, but I liked stuff like that,
Mhm.
especially being a role player. It just adds to your immersion.
Yeah, because you can use a special. You used them. Oh, that's right. One of the things you used them for was your dance routines.
Oh
Yeah, you used that shit a lot in EQ2 in your dance routines.
yeah. But it was fun.
Mhm.
It gave you, like I said, it helped with the immersion of the role play.
Yeah, because typing, crackles with electricity is all cool, well and good. But when you and then you put the item on and you're,
Yeah.
crackling with electricity, it's cool.
Yeah, man.
It adds
I
to
mean,
it.
I remember when the Halloween content came out and that freaking spider appearance armor came out. People were like, "Bro, that's your stuff, dude." And I looked at them like, "Yeah, they're kind of right." Put it on.
They're kind of right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean-
kind of nailed me there.
I didn't wear it for a while because all the kids were wearing it, and then once it fell out of fashion,
Right.
then I threw it on and just
Yeah.
left it.
Yeah, because
And
you
then
don't
people were
want to
like,
be
"Dude,
the.
that's such Ring God Steel." Like,
you're like, I'm emo, so that way I could be unique, just like all my friends. Wait, what?
yeah, seriously.
I'm an individual. I'm gonna wear
But
the
it-
same stuff everyone else is.
But it led credence to my roleplay because people called him Spider, and then literally it was just, oh, hey, that's why they call you Spider.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, the armor kind of said that, but it was like, no, you really don't know. But it did add the layer of
But
immersion.
it adds that layer. It's like, oh, well, that's why. And it was kind of a nice for you. It had to be a good throw them off the scent, kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So yeah, the special effects things. I remember the one I do remember one I loved, and I used it with the Watcher roleplay that we did. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a pair of gloves, and it would have blue crackles of electricity around him, and it would have a black outline of your figure that would slightly shift off base of your actual form. So it looked like shadow was kind of melting off.
Yeah, it looked like
you.
you didn't belong there, and
Right.
you had those eyes that glue the goggles that made your eyes glow red.
Yeah.
too. That looked all.
Yeah, it looked great together. You want to, and I hated this. This worked at the beginning of EverQuest 2's life, and somewhere along the lines they turned it off. Remember the colored torches?
Yeah.
You would put because we could put a torch on in EverQuest 2, even though you really didn't need it, and it would put a light of ring around you if it was just a regular torch. But then later on they came out with ones that had various colors, and it was blue and orange and red and green. And if you put that on and people had their settings up so that they could see other people's torches, it would actually change the color of the room you were in because it would bounce the ambient lighting and stuff. And I had found out too that on top of each torch being its own color, it was a color wheel as well. So that if you had put two torches on of, yellow and blue makes green. So you put yellow and blue on, and it would make its own sort of a green separate from the one they had in the game.
Cool.
I miss those things, man.
And then they stopped working. Only you could see it. It worked for you, and I even remember because I would use that in the Watcher thing, the Witcher, and even Jazz could see it, and she would be like, "Oh no!" Character-wise, because it was a clue that something was about to happen, or that Xanis was getting angry, or something like that, because the power would start leaking out. It would change the ambience of the room, and there were times when I would just put the torch on, and she would, before I even finished typing, what was happening around me, she would respond to the fact that the colors in the room had changed. And it was a really cool feature that out of nowhere just stopped working. I had started doing it, and I'm like, why is no one responding to these anymore? And I was like, does anybody else see the colors have changed? And they're like, no, I can't see that. And I'm like, how about now? No, I can't see it. How about now? It's like, so did they just turn it off and everyone realized, oh, crap, they don't work anymore? No rhyme or reason.
It could have been because
Yeah.
EQ2 was clunky anyway.
Could be.
And to have, like, one person with, 2 torches on making green, and then another person with, like, a red torch on.
Yeah.
It was probably killing people's computers.
It could have been. I don't know. And the thing was, too, I mean, I know it didn't happen a lot because it was in one of the accessory slot. It actually had to put it in an accessory slot, too.
Yeah.
So you had to take something that's useful off, which you don't just randomly do in that game like that. I'm going to dumb myself down so I look pretty in the lighting. I got to make sure my lighting's good. Was that the one you were talking about, Sib?
No, this
Cloak
is
of
just one
Woven
them,
Nature?
But it says the picture's not one, but it says applies nature's weave and activated symbols of nature.
Oh,
you.
You're cutting out, babe.
Oh, I was leaning over to read it. It says symbols of nature surround you, like it shows like the grass at the bottom and stuff.
Yeah, and I see the little streaks of light.
They did all kinds of effects.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really neat. And there was some that would actually shift you into like different races or different. It would turn you into a skeleton, or a zombie. I mean, it was really neat the things that they came up with in that.
Mm-hmm.
How they did the cloaks.
EQ2 had some awesome cloaks. They did some of them. There was that one that had like electricity flowing up, like they were animated.
One that was really cool. And this one would stack on other items that you had. This one says enlarges caster by 32%, which there was an ogre.
There was an ogre.
Orc?
He had multiple of these.
Yes,
though.
And he was gigantic.
Yep.
Because he was, I think in character he was also part giant, but he had like one of these. He had multiple enlarging items because there was more than one, and you could they would
there was
stack.
Like mementos, there was capes, there was
rings.
In EQ2, there was
potions and stuff.
Really.
Yeah, he was. I remember that dude.
He wasn't a bad guy either. He was a little annoying at his size, but roleplay wise, he was actually pretty good.
Yeah, he was not bad.
Oh, well,
it was that Ixar that tried to look like Godzilla. He made himself so huge, he got stupid looking.
Yeah, he was dumb.
And like this one, it actually turned you into a dark elf.
Yeah,
so there was just all different kinds of little things like that would just really help the immersion into the game, which I really enjoyed. I mean, I loved EQ2. It was one of the first ones I learned how to play.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had no clue that these games existed until this game, and Ashton got me started on it, and it was like, I loved it. I really had a lot of fun in it. But
she did good.
ESO has a lot of mementos that do similar things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as, I don't think it's as good.
They're not as long lasting. They last only like a few seconds, and once it's done casting, it's done casting.
It's a flash in the pan for sure.
Yeah.
But no, it's just things like that really help with, I mean, the RP aspect of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and what's great too about those is you got to do it from. Sadly, everything has to be from more than just role players, because we'll use the shit out of anything that's awesome like that. But if it's also good for the average player that they think it's cool, and they add more. And let's be honest, just as gamers in general, we like things that are shiny and cool looking.
Yep.
Yes,
sir. I've spent
shiny.
I can't tell you the number of hours I spent in The Witcher 3. I'm the only one that sees my Geralt. Only one. Nobody else is seeing this guy. Can't tell you the number of hours I spent going after different Witcher costumes so that I would have like the full set, so that it didn't look like a mishmash of some noob. But I think it was I can't remember, the Viper School set or something like that. And I had the guide. I went all around the world gathering all the pieces and the schematics. Then I went and gathered all the pieces I needed to make those schematics, and then I made them so that I could look awesome. I was the only one that appreciated it. Yeah.
That's what's
You know,
going
I
on.
do the same thing.
That's what's going on in Fallout 76. They're putting out so
Exactly.
many outfits. People are going nuts with it, man.
Yeah. And, well, at least in that one, other people see it. I just did this for me.
Oh, yeah.
It's like-
Well, I mean, if you're gonna spend hours
Oh, yeah.
staring at this character,
especially that
make him look
amazing
cool.
ass. That's America's ass. I said that to a guy recently at a wedding.
that's America's
Oh
ass.
my. Okay, funny story. My brother just got married on the 4th of July, and we met his best man and best friend and his wife, and we're on the dance floor dancing. And okay, it's like
I should say, I hit it. This guy is like, he's basically me in another body.
Yeah.
We hit it off.
I was like, holy
Awesome.
shit. Where did you come from? Because okay, we're on the dance floor, we're dancing, slow dancing, and
You did the
The
Jesus
guy-
thing.
the guy walks up and he goes, "How's my ass look back there?"
Yeah, he's dancing with his wife right behind there. Before that, Sib made the joke about there needs to be more room between you. There needs to be room for you and Jesus in between there. You guys separate. Like it was it was a dance floor. And then they do a couple rotations, and Sib and I are out there swaying back and forth because we're white and we have no rhythm. And he kind of swivels around, and his butt's facing me, and he looks behind me and says, "How's it looking back there?" I looked down, and I said, "That's America's ass." just that
happened
fast.
so fast. I was like, "Oh my god, it's like the same person, just different bodies." Oh, it was hilarious.
That's America's ass.
But yeah,
And there, I will say, for a wedding, there was definitely not enough room for Jesus between a lot of those married couples. It's very
Oh, they're
disappointing.
married, so it's all right.
No. There needs to be room for Jesus. I remember that back in the old days of schools. Being in Oklahoma, I'm sure in Texas down there, Strafe, I'm sure you heard that as well. It's certainly.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I mean, once you're married, they're like, people don't care anymore.
Yeah, but it's still funny,
It's hilarious. Yes.
especially because she said it to the married couple, her brother and his new wife. It's like, there needs to be room for you and Jesus. Jesus. So let's see. Downside to expansions, because this never happens. There's never a downside to any expansions. We may as well shut the show off right now.
Ooh, I know one. Launch day.
Oh, we didn't even have that on here.
no, that's not on there.
You are definitely
Launch
right.
day, abandon all hope because it's going to be buggy.
Remember back in the
Never-
day,
Never take the day off from
don't
work.
take
for
the
launch
day off from work on a launch day of a new game or a new expansion that's online.
Or you do take the day off because the queues to get into the dang thing are so long, and if you don't start right when it opens, you're never
gonna
getting
get
in
in.
that game.
Yeah. Or
At least for a week.
well, the worst thing about it though was half the time it's actually, I will say, it's one of the few things in the MMO field that has gotten better is that launch days don't do what they used to do, which was crash for 75% of the day.
Yep.
There'd be like a 5-6 hour period where it was open, but given that 5 and 6 hour period was cut up between 5 and 6 times throughout the day. But half the time, like I don't remember every EverQuest 2 EverQuest expansion back in the day was just it was awful. It was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
The server crashes, everything. World of Warcraft had that. Matrix Online had that. Star Wars Galaxies.
And that's when you had to buy the CDs back then.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were waiting at 5.6K kilobytes a second, downloading the same day patch of a whopping 35 megabytes, but it would take 4 hours.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, man.
I'm glad those days.
Nostalgia.
I am glad those days are gone. I do not
Yeah, me
lament
too.
that passage of time. But on top of not wanting to take the day off, really, and being there on day one, and again, almost never happens. They don't quite live up to the promise of what they promised, and they finally,
Some
come
of
out
them
after
don't.
all the hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all of them, but there have Elsewhere kind of is in this vein. I'm going to put Elsewhere in this vein. From what I've not played it because I hate deserts. Don't give a shit
haven't
about
either.
Khajiit. And
But I hadn't
Strafe
even.
plays it, and he's not even touched it yet.
I love Elder Scrolls, and I hadn't even looked into it. Like I knew it was coming. I was like, cool. Elsewhere, I finally get to see that. But I didn't.
And you
look
haven't
into
even
it.
gone to like look at it yet.
No, I don't even have the X pack, and I haven't even tried to look at it because I don't have it. But I'm like, I don't care right now.
Yeah, it's not
What
like
was the one in EQ2 that was towards the end of its reign? I mean, very end of its reign.
Like they were taunting.
Everyone was
well,
like,
they were taunting Lucklin, like going back to the moon. I think.
but like, well, like they reused the same.
Oh, the most recent one that Jazz.
They reused like the same thing. I know if Jazz was here, she
They-
would know.
Yeah, the one they recently did that
they reused the Fee Rod. I know that for sure.
They reused Kunark.
Kunark, yeah.
And I think it was according to this. Oh no, it's actually been a couple of them now. Kunark Ascending, apparently, I think is the one she was talking about.
Yeah, because I know Jazz has
Yeah.
mentioned it before. How
Yeah.
it was so frustrating because it was just basically the same thing
This is what happens when you take
with
your
a couple new
chief-
quests.
your chief dev team off and get sold out to the Russians, and you start getting rehashes of content you
Yeah.
didn't want.
Well, to be fair, isn't there only like 4 people working there now?
Who knows,
It's
probably.
it's actually 3.5. One of them is a halfling.
3.5.
Yeah, and and a hamster, which is their mascot.
Oh, I
Actually-
thought the
You know what-
hamster ran the server.
I
Yeah.
remember when they were
You know, it's
taunting.
really only 3 because that halfling is on Jum Jum the whole time.
Yeah,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much.
he's definitely passed out drunk.
So
I remember
I mean,
they
3.
were taunting like the Shissar, whatever they were,
Shissar, yep.
the Cobra dudes, and I was like, sweet, we're gonna go back to Lucklin. Another place I never explored back in live in the old days. I'm like, sweet, I'll explore
I
it.
love Lucklin. Yeah.
And then the
They never-
Russians got the game, eh?
Yeah, and they've never and Lucklin has always been, at least in EQ2. I mean, that was the lore wise, what happened to Lucklin has always been from day one, one of the biggest mysteries that they always teased that they would solve. Like we would go back to like whatever fiery chunk of Lucklin is still up there or something like that. Or they could have easily just changed the graphic and like it pieced itself back together somehow, and now we got to go find out what happened to Lucklin and why it's
And it did piece itself back together towards the end, and we're wondering, is Catacasm still there? Is all that stuff there?
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
nope,
nothing.
You're not going.
Nothing. Yeah. And at this point, I don't think they would have the resources to remake that. And if they did, I would be shocked and dismayed, and I mean,
And
the
we've
whole,
probably all tried.
yeah, the whole thing of it, it's a travesty, it's a sham, it's a mockery. You'd almost say it's a Travis-sham mockery.
Havisham mockery.
It's awful, but yeah, it's,
Everything he said, I agree with.
But yeah, every now and then these expansions come out, and man, and it can really kill it if they fall short of both expectation and promise, because it's not just anymore. Given the modern gamer, it's not about what was promised. It's also about meeting expectations. Because a lot of, people's expectations, sometimes they do get out of control over what is promised, but sometimes those game developers, they'll promise they promise all these things, and then when you get it, it's kind of like that kid that was like in elementary school. It's like, I have a flight simulator in my basement, and then you go over there, it's like Top Gun on the NES. It's
Oh,
that.
Oh, gosh,
they do
that
that
kid,
bait
yeah.
and shit, bait and switch,
No,
It was bait and
shit
crap,
is
bro.
good,
That's,
too.
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened.
bait and shit,
Bait and shit.
bait and shit. So, but so yeah, when they do fall flat, it's you get that influx of people, but if you don't give the people what you promised, they're not going to stay around. They've got options, is all I'm saying. If you've got options. With new expansions too, usually comes, as Seb said earlier, the asshole trolls that have been gone, kind of got bored maybe for the game. They come and go just as any other player, and maybe they get bored of leveling, or they just honestly, they don't even have to be bored. They could be in the middle of something they're really enjoying, but then they see role players, and then all of a sudden, I have something else I would rather do, and that is
That's
to
control
harass
for
us.
about 5 hours till they
Mhm.
run off. It's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the new shiny shit draws them back in, and of course they can't be in game without being total assholes. And
No.
it's It's the way of the world. Every game has them, and
Yeah, you play a game, you're gonna have trolls.
yeah,
It's just
it's
how it rolls.
yeah.
This
Final
is why I
Fantasy
hate the
14
Rift.
has
Same
them.
reason.
Yeah, 14 has them. ESO has them.
Tor has
Tor
them.
definitely has them still. I still have. We'll have people. We're at a table on the fleet, and we'll have someone run up, and they'll either bounce in the middle of our table, or they may start dancing. Some of them actually do that thing that we've seen in ESO where they pretend that they're role players.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "Hello, fellow kids and role players."
The
like
karma chameleons, man.
Yeah, like the idiot that was, saw us on Twitch and just like, I want to come on and talk on the show. It's like, how about? And he had some racist looking,
How about no?
Thing on his avatar on there, and I shared no servers with him. It's like, well, what would you like to speak about? It's a roleplay podcast. Well, just go ahead and put me on. It's like, yeah, no.
Yeah. How about no?
Yeah, this is your call screening, and you failed. Just like
You just gotta look at
do
the
at
names
everything.
of those players, man, and you just know right off the bat most of the time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
when you didn't, I didn't see the avatar at first, but when Strafe, it was a racist thing. It was some black guy that had he's had the buck teeth. It was clearly
Oh, I know. I saw the
photoshopped.
picture,
Oh,
and that's why I said, yeah, this
I'm
guy's...
describing it for the people.
Yeah, oh,
And,
sorry.
it was clearly meant to be some racist piece of shit thing, and
As soon as I saw the picture, I went, this guy is suspect,
Yeah.
bigger than nothing, man.
Mhm. And if the guy for some reason, if he had special needs and that's what he looked like, that's great. But he wasn't like that.
He just has some
Hi,
wild
Jazz.
ideas about what erudite look like, man.
Jazz
Is she
wandered
here?
into our host chat and said hi. So
Hello, Jazz.
I don't know if she's actually listening or not, but tell those Canadians to screw off, wanker.
Jazz, you fetcher! You left us here alone.
You left me with this.
We haven't had
guy.
any good cougaring, Jazz. We've tried,
Mhm.
There
but
has
me
only
and
been
Uniface
pooming,
just aren't.
but no cougary. That's true.
Lots of
Cougar,
pumas.
I know.
Lots of pumas. All right,
That's
so
It's a puma.
it's not a puma.
No, it's not a puma.
I'm pretty sure that's how that quote goes.
Hey, I'll go with it. That sounds good to me.
You may lose friends and fellow role players to wanting to explore the new content and quests, especially even if they're in the game. There is typically
This is
a
gonna
role
happen.
play lull. Yeah, because people
Yeah.
want to play
Yeah.
the new content. They're curious. They want to
Yeah.
see it. They want to get that new shiny cloak that makes them look
Yeah.
like a
The new
butterfly.
shinies. They want to be the first to have them
Mm-hmm.
to role play with.
Oh, and that was in EverQuest 2. That was actually a thing. World firsts and
Oh.
server firsts. Remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
They would announce them. That's
Yeah,
right.
it would
I
announce
totally
it to the
forgot about
whole
that.
server. And I don't know. I've gotten I got not to brag, but I've gotten several of those over my career. World, not just server first, but world firsts. One of them was, I think, the most innocuous one that I was like, "Fucking really?" was
And-
was some crafted thing. It was like just a recipe, and it wasn't like a rare recipe. It was just a recipe of something new from the expansion. It was like a week later, and I was like, I wonder what that looks like. And I crafted these housing items. It's like world first, world first, world first. And it's like, how has nobody else looked at these yet? So sorry.
Hey, man.
And,
but you got
and ladies and gentlemen, that is all mine.
That's right. That's right, ladies. Sorry, I know what you're thinking. This guy is taken. You're just gonna have to sell those panties online to somebody
With that
else.
bathwater.
Like the bathwater.
in Japan, no less.
So you probably, roleplay does always take a lull. Aside from people in other games leaving, which will also lull your roleplay going from their game to the new one that has the new content. Not everybody does that, of course. It's a fairly large percentage. It's enough to notice. And so even when you're in the game, though, they'll bail on you. And you'll probably be bailing on them because you're playing the same damn game. Unless you're Strafe and you're like, I don't really care. I mean, it's there. It's elsewhere.
I'll check it out eventually.
It's a giant litter box. It's not Morrowind.
I'm suffering from the same thing you are right now, bro. I'm kind of burnt out. I kind of want to play it, but I kind of don't care. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes perfect
Yeah,
sense.
I
Trust me.
want to play it. Okay. I want to play it, but I don't.
See, I got roleplay stuff going on, but half the people I need are not there, and I'm like, I have to modify it, and that requires work stuff. I'm going to have to write.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like writing today. Hey, I'll play this. Then
Yeah.
I'm in 76 divs.
Star Wars Galaxies, or something.
But that's it's just maybe it's a slight burnout from
definitely,
just having too many options.
It could be.
I know I'm having trouble just
Focusing.
focusing on one game in particular. I mean, I'm like all over the place. I went to download Halo 5 tonight. I have Borderlands going on now. Borderlands 2. I still am playing Dead by Daylight. That game frustrates the hell out
I
of me.
came home and saw that,
just,
and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hear screaming.
Yeah, 'cause it's just frustrating. I mean, it's scary and frustrating, but yeah, I'm like all over the place. I just have no focus right now. The only thing I can focus on is my running, and that's
Yeah, you got a big one tomorrow. You're gonna try for a big one.
yeah, 10 miles. We'll see.
Yep.
Dang, I just feel unhealthy, and I got to run tomorrow. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
she's gonna try to run 10 miles, and from start to finish. I, however, am going to be supporting her from under my bed sheets.
Jesus. I can't even run 10 feet.
I'm just trying to do a 30-minute run. My goodness.
I've got up to 8. So, and I signed up for a half marathon in November. So I have to be able to run 13 miles by November. So,
Oh, well, good.
and I'm
Start
having
running.
trouble because due to health issues, it's not going as planned. So me and
Well, I think
the people that work with me are trying to figure out what I can do to actually make it.
getting the intake of carbs and stuff like that is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we're trying to work around that right now. So I've got plans.
Got ideas. She's got ideas.
I'm gonna see if it works tomorrow. That's why
Yeah.
I'm doing the 10.
But yeah, so
Anyway,
we will
I'll
have
wait for the
updates
health
on
corner.
that. Yes. Okay, so I did that. Dealing with this one I kind of tacked on here at the end. Dealing with the new content for your own story as the world's lore progresses.
This episode of How the Law Progresses.
I speak God. Spoons.
Final Fantasy 14's Final Fantasy 14 recently, the Viera and the Hrothgar's new race showing up out of nowhere. How do you got to kind of deal with that, like roleplay wise. Anytime like a brand new race is suddenly playable, there has to be. Hopefully, the game itself provides a reason. I looked at Final Fantasy 14. Kind of does, like the place the Viera come from. They're very isolationist. They don't leave, and supposedly those that do are then like persona non grata. They're not allowed back or anything like that. But at the same time, that lore didn't really seem, at least what I've read briefly. I've not played the expansion. If you're a Final Fantasy 14 person, don't jump down my throat yet. It didn't seem to explain in the blurb why so many thousands would all of a sudden do it all at once and why they wouldn't have been in the world beforehand. So you got to kind of be like, yeah, I don't know. You got to figure that out. Usually a community they seem to just we all seem to just sort of flub over that one. Just like, yes,
Yeah,
that's a thing that happens.
Not to continuously be a negative Nancy here.
Oh, here we go, Nancy.
No, I really dislike when a new expansion comes out with a new race, and this new race is very rare and elusive.
Right.
And but yet there's 15,000
of
of them running around. Yeah, that's super rare and elusive.
Like the Fae in EverQuest 2. That one made complete sense because they were stuck on a continent all by themselves. They were separated, and they appeared during that 250 years of isolation. They just, and they had a reason for their sudden birth and coming of age and all that stuff and sentience. That there was lore behind that. So all of a sudden, when help me, I'm falling apart here. Greater Fate Art came out, and all these little Fae were there already, it made sense. It was acceptable.
Gormal ate quite well that week, I'll just say.
Oh, God.
He had Fae farts for days. For days.
Every time he farted, it was just like the sprinkling of fairy dust.
And then you know what happened? What happened a few weeks later? The Arcite came out, and Gormal was full all over again.
His underwear looked like the aftermath of a gay pride parade. That's all I'm going to say. Just farting right through it. Just glitter and sparkles everywhere.
Yeah, but no, it's true. Man. They show up out of nowhere, that new race. I remember seeing Sarnax out the wazoo, and it always happened.
Yeah, and you really, if you're lucky, the game provides a good reason for it. Final Fantasy
but
14.
Don't just be like, they're super rare and elusive. Like,
yeah, like Final Fantasy 14 had a good one with the Aura. They're like they're part dragony. They're the girl. They're the race, not just girls, but the main one was a girl she was a ninja. They were from like kind of the Far East, which up until Stormblood wasn't really part of the expansion. But once they brought in the Far East as like mentioning it, they were leaving Doma in that area. They were crossing a very dangerous sea to get to Eorzea. So it made sense that they were leaving all at once. They had no reason to leave before, but now they were leaving. So these Aura kind of started showing up more and more, and that was a good reason why these dragon people that aren't native to Eorzea were suddenly showing up.
Yeah,
but like the bunny girls in the Hrothgar, it doesn't seem like there's as much of a good, at least story-wise, there's not as nearly a good a reason as that. But we just kind of have to flub over it and just do a lot of times I don't think it's even really addressed. It's just like they were kind of always there, but they really weren't. Always dressed. What is Indigo putting up? Always dressed like you're going to see your worst enemy. Guy needs help. That guy just needs help. But yeah, in like ESO, adding places that technically maybe were always open, like Elsewhere. There's no reason we weren't in Elsewhere at this point. It's been there. It should have been it's technically accessible the entire time. What's the place the High Elves came from, Mr. Fay?
That would be. Goodness, my mind is shut off for a second.
The one
there.
they just opened.
Somerset Isles.
Somerset. Like that one was isolationist beforehand, so that kind of made sense why they weren't open.
And they still are to this day, which they kind of
and they treat you like
stepped
shit.
on.
Yeah,
they
kind of bent
do
the rules.
Put the bunch of jerks over there.
Yeah, they bent the rules with the X-Pack in, and all the content's like the Queen wants us to be all inclusive. I'm like, bro, you guys do not know Almer, but hey, whatever, devs, all inclusive.
Yeah, same thing. Well, it's the same thing with Morrowind. They did. It's basically they did
the
same
thing.
Yeah, there's like, all these Outlanders. Yeah, these Outlanders, they're not really welcome here. Yeah, but expansion MMO, so we flub.
Yeah, so that's how it goes.
It's kind of Dragon Break. Dragon Break. Dragon Break.
We've never seen these other lands, like even in the single player game, so it's kind of neat when they've dropped one.
Right.
But you're right. There's no reason why we shouldn't have already been there.
Yeah, so you kind of have to, and I think I've known role players that were like, I just came back from a merchant expedition and Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Their character went there even while we couldn't role play there.
What would make sense for them, kind of like in a classic EQ1 X-Pack, would be no one has ever seen where the Akiviri come from. It's a whole other continent where all the samurai stuff comes from, and the dragon hunters originally, with the whole Akiviri invasion of the Morrowind kickback. Yeah, they came from the ocean. Like, it didn't come from anywhere else.
They came from beyond the sea.
That we've never seen in any single game or any MMO. So that, that could be
That must have been where Arya went.
Under the sea?
There you go.
No, Arya.
Under the sea?
Okay, I got nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'm gonna say what's west of Westeros. I don't know, Westeros. I'm gonna
That's
go
the Western
look
Westeros, man.
Because I'm like a tiny little 20-year-old girl, and no one before me would have possibly thought to sail west after Westeros because it has Westeros in the name, and there can't be anything in the west. Like if you keep circling around a circle, it won't turn into the east eventually. I'm the first to... That was such a stupid... So, anyway... roleplay. Expansions are neat. They're something to look forward to until they're not. But, yeah. I think I already hit, and I already hit the Fallen Empire 5-year jump. That one definitely had to be. I can't imagine. I mean, I came to it after the fact, but I can't imagine really, like I said, the first people are like, oh, yeah, this is going to be so great. 5 years later. Fuck.
Ashton's like, say, what?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine for me because my character, I was already going to be that he'd been gone for, the whole time period I haven't been playing. So it was easy. And I'm like, well, tack 5 years onto that. So 6 years later, he's not been around, or 7, or whatever it was. So just jump it up. That one, I don't know that I've ever seen an MMO expansion. I mean, they all accelerate. They all, increase the timeline. But I don't know that I've ever seen one jump it by a single cutscene to a 5-year period. In an expansion.
World does.
Do they do it?
They don't have expansions. They have
right, but through the storyline,
issues or episodes or something like that. But yeah, there's a point in the storyline where the story it jumps forward a couple years. It's
I stand corrected. So there's 2.
Yeah, it's at the very end, where you defeat the big bad and whatever, and then they added Tokyo, and they're like, oh hey, it's been a couple years. Go see Tokyo.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure at least by that time, I'm sure there was quite a bit of time. It's not so bad at least, but there had definitely not been a 5-year period between one expansion and the other. So that's why that one. 2 years,
yeah, I don't think it was that long.
A year,
it was a couple years.
A year or 2, I think you could get away with, and it wouldn't be that. But 5 was kind of a big jump, especially in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do they think you've been doing for 5 years?
Well, I don't want to spoil it. There's a reason your character is inactive, and it has something to do with carbonite.
Oh God.
But I'm not going to spoil it.
That's uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah. No, he got his hand stuck in carbonite for 5 years and was just like, well, I guess this is my life now. Just one hand, though. Just the one. He was like Jaime Lannister. But yeah.
Keep going back to those jokes, don't we?
It's just still such a disappointment.
Is he the one that they made swallow gold, or?
No, that was her shitty little brother that lasted all of one season. Daenerys' little brother. Yeah.
I remember that from the first book.
Yeah, no,
but
yeah.
I haven't seen the show yet.
Yeah, and I think in the show they just poured it over his head. It was his crown of gold, but it's still bolt gold, so not.
Yeah, that's probably
not
a little
comfortable.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, well, I think that about wraps up. At least that's all we got here. Anybody have any final thoughts before we kick this pig and get out of here?
Don't kick pigs.
Well, only the ones that are going to be delicious. You got to tenderize them.
Don't even kick the delicious ones.
You got to tenderize them somewhere.
You tenderize pork?
I mean, yeah. When it's alive. Pfft, I'm not an idiot. RPMO Radio does not condone the cruelty to animals, living or dead.
That's just what they're telling you, man.
That's just what I'm saying. I don't actually. If there's one thing I learned from our modern day culture and political thing and people of celebrity, you don't actually have to mean your apology, just as long as you say it. I mean, bacon's delicious. It's just so good.
Bacon is delicious.
And ham is good. Pork chops are great. They all come from the same animal, Dad. Oh, yeah, like there's some magical animal that all this meat comes from. Love that in The Simpsons.
So
Yeah.
That's all this. Lisa's like, that's all the same animal, Dad.
Oh, sure, Lisa. Like, there's one animal that all this magic meat comes from. Ooh, I'm Lisa. I know everything.
Hey, do we eat plastic? No, we don't.
Sometimes.
I mean, I prefer paint chips, but sure.
This is why I don't have kids. Like, I mean, I take care of Ben, but as far as like children, the two cats are like toddlers sometimes.
Do we eat plastic? No.
Yeah, do you eat plastic? No. What are you eating? What did you just eat? Why do you smell like
what's
cupcakes?
in your mouth? What's in your mouth? What's in your mouth?
Yep.
Spit it out, spit it out, spit it out.
Don't make me come over there. Don't. And you walk over and like pry the jaws open.
All right. Well, I think we're good for tonight. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. RPM Radio. Remember, subscribe, follow Twitch over at twitch.tv/RPM Radio. Follow us over on Discord as long as you actually care about the show and want to interact with us. We'll always say howdy, just like we did to, I gotta scroll through these pictures now. Inori Asada earlier when she or he joined. They joined over at 7. Appreciate you jumping in there and joining with us. So 7 Central every Saturday, except for usually the last one. I'm Ashton Phoenix. I want to thank Sib, Strafei, Yunfei,
Yo!
Jazz for, I don't know, existing. Didn't do nothing, but sure, why
Jazz
not?
left us, bro. She left.
she's just garbage. But, nah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and join us next week when we'll go over why halflings shouldn't be allowed to be in expansions because they're short and they can't expand very large because they're tiny and they smell bad and I don't like them. The end. All right. With that, good night, everybody. See you next time.
Good night.
Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.